Hello and welcome to Kelly's Cooking on the Cheap. Welcome back, and it's a Sunday, and I know I had put out a short on Friday for having a Saturday kid-free, fuss-free cooking, but as they say, a day late, a dollar short. My husband and I ended up taking a day yesterday to enjoy a little get out of town getaway for the day. And I had meant to take you a picture of what we had for lunch, which we had Zaxby's. Forgot until we were halfway through our afternoon. But, and I, by the time we got back and did other piddling, I didn't make the dinner either. So you're going to see it today. So for lunch, we are doing a keto version of sloppy joes. So we'll get to that here in a minute. But while we were out of town, we did stop at the Sam's there, just walk around before we came back, because I needed some walking in. As you can tell, I'm still battling sinus crud and my cough has been horrible. But I've got my bottled water here, my cup of water there, so we'll try and keep it under control today. We did find a couple of markdowns. One we used for dinner, and I'll show it here. We found the prepared Caesar salad marked down. So we had half of that last night with some lightly breaded Tyson chicken, buffalo chicken that I had picked up last week at Sam's. That part of it's going to be used for a meal that I'll probably show you probably tomorrow for a lunch this week. But we had a Caesar salad. I put the chicken on my salad. My husband had it on the side. So, and then the other markdown was I found that the 3-pack of organic beef hamburger marked down a couple bucks. So I picked that up to throw in the freezer as well. But in the meantime, let's get started on lunch. I've already got it started. And here, let me get you moved down, minus all the jiggly. So it's keto sloppy joes, and it calls for hamburger beef. But I had pulled down originally the ground turkey I had in the freezer that I picked up last week before I had picked up the hamburger. So we're going to do it ground turkey. And the recipe calls to cook it in an iron skillet. Not feeling good. I didn't really want to hassle of cleaning an iron skillet today. So I'm just doing my non-skillet. And if I were to have done the iron skillet, it called to put some butter in it. But thinking about it now as we're talking, I might add it once I get done with the turkey, because once we get the turkey cooked, we'll add and cook up like the onion and green pepper. So the recipe, and I did pick up the recipe off of Pinterest, and my husband, here's what it's called, so if you can read it. My husband's not a big fan of this keto version. He likes the manwich kind. And we had that last time. So he's very disappointed finding out today we're doing it this way. But like with other recipes, such as the chicken pot pie, him and our son like the old-fashioned way with the crust on top and bottom. They like, or I should say my husband more so, my son's not a big sloppy joe fan. But they prefer the manwich over this. So I tried to alternate it between what they like, what I like, because of the chicken pot pie. I like cooking it in the crock pot and then doing it over biscuits. That one is usually nicer to do through the week where I don't have as much time to make the crust regular version. So that's why I do it that way sometimes. while we were out piddling, when we got back, we did finish the little bit of second week grocery shopping. And I did pick up, like I said in my short on Friday, later I'll be showing you a dessert, a fall dessert. And this evening for dinner, we're going to do a casserole type creamy chicken noodle. So I didn't have enough, sorry about that, enough egg noodles. So if we would have done it last night before I went to the store, we were going to do different noodles. So again, just use what you have on hand. But I did pick up more egg noodles to be more with the recipe. And again, I found that on Pinterest to try. So while this is cooking, once it gets cooked, I'm going to add the spices. And let me go ahead and talk about the spices, which I've got it ready here. It calls for a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Let's see, let me make sure I'm telling you right. Of garlic powder, 1 full teaspoon of onion powder and chili powder, a dash of red pepper flakes, some salt, and some pepper. Which, so that way you didn't have to watch me do it, I went ahead and got it ready. So we'll add that here momentarily once it gets cooked up. One of the, or a couple who are sisters, they have each their own channel. They mentioned if you're not a big fan of turkey, to try adding beef bouillon to it to maybe make it more taste like beef. But when I picked up the turkey rolls, they were on, I think, $3 or $4 a roll. And they were I forgot what brand I picked up. But that's always, if you can't afford the beef, with them being higher in price currently, go with turkey. It's usually a little healthier anyway. But it's an option. This is almost done, but let me grab a little in this time to see if that helps bind it up. So, shh, don't say anything. We'll see if he watches the video, and then he can be mad at me then. Yeah, he was gone this weekend for a little church youth getaway. So after church, they got back in time after church, so he went home with this. So, like me, not feeling good, a little crabby. He's a little crabby too, being tired, so it's understandable. Luckily, with Tuesday being a holiday for us, being Veterans Day, he'll have a day to sleep in. Alright, so this is done. I'm going to transfer it to a plate. Oh, dinner bell's ready. Not quite, almost. So do you all say dinner or supper? I think growing up it was always supper, but I think I've gotten to the point I'm saying dinner more often than not. So again, sorry if I'm not talking the loudest today. I just don't want to talk loud because then I'll have a coughing fit, and that'll be the end of me for the day. Alright, so let me go ahead and get that butter and let me put it in real quick. Alright. If you've heard me watch any of my videos, I usually say I like to get the unsalted butter. That way you could control the butter. I mean, not control the salt. Because where I use a lot of salts from the seasoning packets that I might use. So. All right, so I'm going to let that melt for a moment, and then I'm going to add in some onion and green pepper. And again, those are from, still I'm pulling out from the freezer, from the produce box that I had. But I'm getting about low on both, so I'm going to have to probably put some more here soon. With it being Thanksgiving here in about 2.5 weeks, maybe I'll find some. All right, so it calls for, I think, let's see, half a onion and half a green pepper minced, but mine's more chunked. That'll be fine, it'll cook down. So there's that. And some onion. Also, another thing, this recipe calls for crushed tomatoes, but I usually don't keep it too often. So I'm going to use regular tomato sauce. All right. One other thing I forgot to grab. Let me go grab some tomato paste. Usually when I need only a little bit of a can of tomato paste, what I'll do is I'll do drop the tablespoons and throw it in the freezer of what's left, because I'm only going to need 1 tablespoon. All right. Let's get this cooked down, and then, sorry about that. It also calls for garlic, and I've already got it minced and ready to go. So once this gets cooked down, we'll add it. So we'll come back momentarily and add the rest, okay? Okay, we're back. I got it cooked down a little bit, and I went ahead and cleaned up some of my spices and put them up. So I'm going to add the garlic. It's about 3 cloves of garlic. I always like garlic. I'm surprised I didn't get more ready to go, but maybe next time. I think the reason I like this keto is because, I don't know, don't get me wrong, I love Maine Witch, but it's not, this one's not as barbecue-y as the Maine Witch is. All right, so got that in. Now it's time to add all the ingredients back. Oh, I forgot. Let me go grab a couple out of the fridge. All right, so we're back. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of the tomato paste in, along with the turkey. I'm going to add in 2/3 cup of the tomato sauce, since I didn't have the crushed tomatoes. I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of brown Swervy, which instead I've got the Truvia. Finally picked it up at Kroger. They had it coupon for $1.50 off. There's 1. Actually, I might just do 2, because when I've done 3 before, it was a little too sweet, so I did 2. I'm going to do a dash of Worcestershire sauce. And I'm going to add in a squirt of mustard. I think I need to get some more. There you go. So now it's just time to move it all around. And now I just need to cook it on low for about 10 minutes with a lid. And let me dig for it. I try to be prepared, but it doesn't always work. I guess I washed it yesterday. There we go. All right, I'm going to stir it here in a couple minutes, just so that way when the tomato paste loosens up, I can stir it. So I'm not going to fully go to low. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. So in the meantime, I am going to kind of clean up and start my tater tots, and then we'll come back and finish up. All right, we're back. Everything's ready. Hubby and I decided to wait on our salad till maybe later. But, and instead of incorporating the cheese on all, I'm just going to put a little on top of half. And we're going to let it melt. I did pull out from the freezer these brat buns to maybe help in keeping the meat on the bun. So, cheese overboard. Let's see. All right. So I shredded a lot more because that's going towards tomorrow's lunch and a little bit this week. So, any idea what I might be making for tomorrow? It's a little hint. It takes a couple kinds of cheeses. And that's what the buffalo chicken strips is for too. So I'm going to go ahead and dish up the tater tots. So I'll bring you over and join me as well. Hitting everything. So let's enjoy. So once the tater tots get done, I'll come back and show you the final plate. And then stay tuned for this evening for when I do dinner and then the dessert. Hopefully it's good. It's pumpkin. Who can go wrong? So we'll be back. Alright, here's the final dish with the tater tots and the meat on it. So enjoy. We'll come back. We'll have to price some leftovers for some point this week. So I'll be back here after a while. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. I'm getting ready to start dinner. But at first, while the water's boiling for the noodles, I wanted to go ahead and get dessert going and in the fridge because I didn't realize it needed to firm up in the fridge. It said 3 hours or until firm, so I at least wanted to get it in a couple of hours before we ate it. So I'm making a no-bake pumpkin cheesecake. It's going to be, I'm sure it will be good, but it's not going to be the real cheesecake that I make here a couple weeks for Thanksgiving, which I'll have to film that one when we get there. But I got the graham cracker crust here. I washed the lid, but I'm to mix all the ingredients together, which is a package of cream cheese, a cup of pumpkin, which I do have a little left, so I'm tempted to make Tuesday when we're all off some pumpkin pancakes, maybe. Depends on how energetic I get that morning. Some sugar, which I'm going to use stevia. That's all I have on hand right now. A Cool Whip and some pumpkin spice, which I forgot to dig out. Shame on me. Or pumpkin spice. So I haven't had the cream cheese sitting out for as long as I wanted to, so I'm going to go ahead and stir it up first just to make sure it gets smoothed out. There we go. Put it on 5. Alright, now I got it smoothed out. I'm going to add a half cup of sugar or sweetener, whichever you prefer to use. Now my cup of pumpkin. So you're about 2.5 weeks out of Thanksgiving. So if your area is like mine, you might want to start getting stuff you need for it now before you run out and you can't find it. So I'll probably do that this next weekend after I get paid. So I've got that. And now some pumpkin pie spice. Let's see, half teaspoon. Let's see. Half tablespoon. So here we go. I'm going to do a little bit then more than that, or half. So here we go to stir it. Smelling good already. I'm ready for Thanksgiving. We're going to my in-laws, and I'll be taking sweet potato casserole and pumpkin cheesecake, which I made before, and it turned out pretty good. We'll just see if it gets a crack this year or not. First year I made it, no crack. I think a friend of mine was amazed that there wasn't any. Alright, alright, so I'm going to add the Cool Whip. Feels like I'm ringing the dinner bell again. It says to put 2.5 cups in here, so I'm just going to say back about 1/2 cup. That way, if I want to put a dollop on the top of it. So here we go. I'll put in the rest. I figured this would be good if you have limited funds and need a cheaper version of a cheesecake, because most people will have some type of sugar. I'm sure some kind of the nutmeg pumpkin spice blend, and all you would really need is to get like the Cool Whip and the graham cracker crust, or you can make your own if you have the graham crackers. This time around I was just going for the ease of it. Okay, got that. So let me fold it in. I like it because it's real easy. Sometime I'm going to have to make a peanut butter pie, which is same basis. Long time ago, I have a 4-ingredient cookbook that I like, and that's where I got that hamburger, green pepper, and gravy dish that I had showed you a while back. I got that from there, and then the tuna bake with the mac and cheese, I got that off there too. But it's a real good dessert. I don't make it as often, and the one thing I like about it is if you grab the Oreo crust, it feels like you're eating a real Reese's cup. So we're almost there. Alrighty. Now I'm just going to pour it into the crust. We'll leave it right there so you can see. I know when you got to try stuff, you got to lick the spoon right, so I'll try it here in a minute before it gets firm. All right. So here, let me take a lick. Pretty good. All right, so I'm going to put the lid on and go throw it in the fridge, and then we're going to get started on dinner. I do have the water boiling. I'm getting ready to put the noodles in. And I do have the oven preheated. So we'll be back in a minute, and I gotta go finish getting a couple of ingredients real quick, so hang tight. Okay, we're back. I got things cleaned up. I got the dessert in the fridge. So, and I almost forgot to put the noodles in the water. So I got it plumb full of noodles in a pan. It is 12 ounces of noodles, and this one I'm using the medium for the smaller noodles. And so I'm to combine everything that I need first, which I've got 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. It calls for a cup of mayo, but I was down on mayo more than I thought I was. So luckily I had some sour cream in there in the fridge. Both of it together equaled the cup. So I lucked out. I hope it turns out. But then again, use what you got on hand. And for me, make sure I check that I have the necessary ingredients. I guess my husband used more mayo than I thought. Alright, so I got that. Let me get more of the cream of chicken soup out here. And the recipe calls for just peas and carrots. But this time around, I've got a freezer full of mixed veggies. Normally before it would be peas and carrots. So I'm just going to use the mixed veggies. And I believe it called for, sorry for the noise. It calls for a cup and a half of frozen veggies. I'm going to use what I've got here. Will be good enough. All right. Calls for onion. So let me pour some in. And, oh, let me go get some milk. Gotta get used to it. All right, there we go. It calls for 2 cans of canned chicken, but I am doing fresh chicken. And I had this prepared, ready to go a few days ago, but we didn't, so I threw it in the freezer until I was ready to use it. As you can tell, it's still frozen. Pulled it out, I think, today. So I'm gonna have to throw in the mic. But the 2 cans are 12.5 ounces each. So we'll start with that, and then I'll cut these while the other's heating. And then earlier, while I was cleaning up from lunch, I went ahead and shredded all the cheese I needed for tomorrow's lunch. And I forgot about what I needed for this evening. So here I go, having to shred some more. And again, I think it calls for 2 cups. I think I'm just going to put a handful in now and then put some more on half, because my boy doesn't like cheese. So I'm not going to overdo it, and then put, like I said, some on top. So here we go. I do have I think I said already, I've got the oven heated, and just pretty much doing this while I'm waiting on the noodles to be done. And sad to see the weekend come to a close, but I'm not too sad because I ended up taking tomorrow off to have a nice extended weekend. Compared to the guys, I'm sure my boy would like to have tomorrow off after being gone this weekend, but he'll have Monday or Tuesday off. So does everybody have plans for Thanksgiving yet? Let me know if you're going to stay local. If you're staying local, do a heart. If you're going out of town or out of state, do a turkey. But let me go ahead and get the rest of this chicken heated, and I'm going to check on the noodles, and you can come with me here in a second. So here we come. Here's the noodles. Looks like they're getting close to being done. I'll check them after I get the chicken cut up and that. I did get my pan prepared with spray. All right. We'll pull this over a little. All right. All right. I'm trying to do these more in bite size. I was cooking these up while I was doing dinner the other night, so I didn't get it done that night. Just trying to hurry up and get done. All right. If you guys ever go antiquing or go to the antique stores, this bowl I got from my mom, I see it always in the stores, and I can't believe how much people are asking for them. Makes me want to get, not that I want to get rid of my mom's stuff, but I'm just thinking of all the money of all the dishes that's at the antique stores, how much money I got in my cabinets. I will always remember this bowl as a cookie bowl. This is what we would make our cookies in. All right, got that stirred up. Now I am needing to get the egg noodles. So let me get that, and then we'll show you the next couple of steps. So here, let me grab it real quick. And here's the noodles. So give me a minute and let me get these drained. All right, got them drained, and I'm going to add a little at a time so I can get them stirred. It's going to make more than what I'm thinking. That's a good thing. We'll have a second night of it. Anything left over, go into a freezer for lunches in a couple of weeks. Nothing beats leftovers. The way I got my camera, this is when I wish I was a lefty. What's funny is, I don't know if I told this story yet or not, but my dad and my father-in-law are both lefties. My nephew's a lefty, and my boy's a lefty. So I've got quite a few lefties in my family. Kind of glad he's taken after both grandpas on the lefty. He's also taken the orneriness after both grandpas. You can tell them that too. Alright. It's actually smelling really good. I wish, like, wish we had smell-o-vision. I wish we had smell-o video. Alright, so let me bring over the pan, and let me grab a rag as I'm being noisy. Wipe the counter off. Alright. Let me bring the pan over. And let me dump in the noodle mixture. Man, it's smelling so good. I am actually surprised it's not taking any kind of seasoning. So it'll be one, if we like it, is there anything we can do differently next time? And I'll write it on my paper here. All right. All right. If you're wanting to ever split this in half, or if you're doing a meal for somebody, you could almost split it in halves. Half for you, half for another family. It's up to you. All right, now what I'm to do is put a cup of breadcrumbs over it, or you could do crackers, Ritz crackers, or other breadcrumbs that you may have. I just so happen to have had panko. It takes a cup, but I'm just going to sprinkle a generous layer over. If you're the type that doesn't like to cook chicken and just have the can, I know you could buy canned chicken anywhere, or Sam's has their pack of 6 or 8 or whatever. You could use that as well. All right, that's probably more than a cup. And then I have a stick of melted butter. I am just going to pour over. I had this going while we were doing the dessert. That way it was good to go by the time we got to this point. All right, now I am going to put this in the oven, and it's going to cook for 30 to 35 minutes, or if yours cooks fast, till it's bubbly. Oh, and guess what? I forgot to add more cheese. Actually, I'm going to cook this and then let the breadcrumbs get crunchy, and then I'll add some at the end. So we'll do that. All right, so let me get the timer going. I'm going to do half an hour. So come back with me and we'll check it back then, and be almost time for dinner. Have a good few minutes. We'll be back. All right, this is cooked for about 30 minutes. I'm just going to sprinkle some cheese on and let it cook for another 5 minutes or so. So here we go. Making sure I don't get the cheese on all of it. Oops. All right, so there we go. I'll put it in for another 5 minutes, and then we'll come back. And all right, we're back. I got this out of the oven, let it sit for maybe 10 minutes-ish. So I've already got our fruit out. I ordered some pear slices from Amazon, price comparison and taste compared to the regular store. So I'm going to dish up. This side's my boys. Get out cooling. So here's our side. It does smell pretty good. I don't think our boy was too thrilled about this. Were you? Shaking his head no. Get a little bit more for Hubs. Alrighty. Steaming. Alright. Like I said, it didn't call for any seasoning, so let's see how it tastes. And that way I know future-wise if I want to add any extra. Does it smell good at least, bud? Shrugging his head or shoulders. It doesn't taste bad. It does taste a little bland. But I'll just have to sit here and ask the guys what they think needs to be added for next time. Otherwise, check back with us after a while and it'll be dessert time. Hello and welcome to the dessert section of the video. But before we go there, I just wanted to say that the dinner was actually pretty good. I don't think it really needed the seasoning like I thought. My husband thought that it tasted a lot like his mom's tuna casserole that he grew up with. So I'm saying that's pretty good compliment. Okay, but here's the dessert. And I'm getting ready to open it. This is the only bad thing about having a pre-made pie graham cracker crust. You have to always uncrimp it. All right. So I think it would be better tomorrow once it's set a little bit more. But it smells pretty good. Alright, my boy's already been asking for dessert, so I had to come in here and start dishing up. Alright, so here it is. I didn't grab out the extra Cool Whip, but let me take a bite. And so there it is. And let me get a bite. Yeah, could probably sit up a little bit longer. Well, here we go. It is good. I must admit, but I just could sit. Sorry, light's getting in the way, but it's good. Well, you have a good evening, and I'm hoping your next video you see will be the homemade mac and cheese with the buffalo style breaded chicken for our lunch tomorrow. So you have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. If you liked the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe and share if you thought this was good. All right, have a good evening.